reward stuff. I think we have. So what do we have on the agenda? We probably should touch upon this proposal to do the one-time payment of Sourcecred. That is something to talk about, perhaps. And I have stuff to share from Praise, about new features planned for Praise, and also stuff that we discussed about RAD in Paris, the time I'm living. And do we have any like discussion topics? Maybe we should discuss the technical quirks of trying to get out the data from Sourcecred. Also, Matteo, do we need to have a discussion on that?
Yeah, we can begin with that if you want. Sounds good.
Yeah, we can move that up. We have let's move that up to the top and start with that then. So how are things going?
Sure. So let me share it with you in the channel if I find it. Well, in the direct message instead. We got to finally merge all the information from the MongoDB and the Sourcecred with a script. We did some kind of Frankenstein repo from the pollen onboarding, and some Python scripts that Nogan did, and some JavaScript that I added. And we are currently having like a generator that takes out a CSV with all of the information. For example, the link that I share with you, if you open it, you can see in a folder is called clean data. Some files that are called activated users, cred distributions, grain distribution, ledger, and merged cred. The one that is called merged cred is the one that combines all users, their identities, their addresses, and the total cred. So that's like our end goal. It's finally happening. It took us a while, but there is a small issue that we are trying to figure out, and it's basically the same mess that Sourcecred has been doing all the time with the identities. For example, you, Christopher, your ID or mine, we don't have like a Discord ID connected, and I'm not sure why. And I think it's because at some point we did some change on our username. For example, my name before it had like a uppercase D and a space, and you were Christopher Lund, and now you're just Christopher. And yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's going on there. Many users, I bet, are facing this problem, at least the ones that made some change at some point. So that's the current issue.
So do you think we need to do a manual merge of all these records to?
Yeah, at least we took a consideration that only include the people that are getting at least 0.01 cred. The people below that are not in this list.
And I guess all the users that don't have that haven't registered any Ethereum address and don't have either also this whole section. What do we do with those? We have no information, no Ethereum, no Discord, no GitHub. Yeah, this is the Discord, right?
Yeah, that's the Discord. So it can be because of two reasons. We are pointing to the user that is not in here. For example, Christopher Long is not in here, even though I merged the identity. For a reason, MongoDB is not recognizing it, just as mine. So either that, or the user didn't give us the address using the pollen bot. So yeah, we have to make sure. I think a manual process is eventually required, unless I get it to solve. At least what I did was merge every identity that I could using the Sourcecred interface. But that seems to not have done anything actually. So Nugan is also a person that is happening the same. I'm not sure why. So we are trying to see for a solution for this.
So basically, we are missing Ethereum addresses, etc., for people that provenly have activated their accounts. Like me and Nagin and ByV, I think we have all run the pollen bot and connected our accounts.
It's not lost. They are in the Mongo, but it's related to another user ID, which is probably another account, and yeah, but it's not lost. If you see, for example, go back to the clean data folder, and you go to activated users, there are more users in there. For example, there you are, and there I should be. Yeah, for example, that's the address. So my opinion is, we are only going to do this once, so we could do a manual merge, like just grab the cred and grain and just link using this table that has a complete address list, and just do the distribution using this. But if we wanted to, yeah, we won't do it. We won't use this in the future. So yeah, I don't know. That's a decision that we should make.
Okay, so this is the complete list of these are all the users that have activated or have connected addresses.
So far, yeah. The cred, the pollen bot runs every 6 hours, but this table is run manually, so we would have to run it, yeah, once in a while.
Okay, so that was 55 lines, and here we have 284 people. So basically, it's only less than 1/5 of the users are actually in the. We have the Ethereum addresses for. So that is a situation we need to consider. How should we handle that? Did we, Mitch? We didn't say. Yeah. You proposed to have a cutoff on August 1st for registering your Ethereum address.
Yeah, that would make it a lot simpler rather than trying to run this again and figure out users who reactivated since. And yeah, I mean, I feel like it's been pretty well advertised for at least like a month and a half now. So, I'm at a loss.
Yeah, you have been pushing out that message quite a few times, right?
Yeah, at least on the community call every week, and then every once in a while I tag everybody in Discord.
And Matteo, do we know that all users that have run the source, the pollen bot, are in that list of the 55 people?
Yeah. Well, it's working fine. The GitHub action seems that it's working fine. So yeah, MongoDB is actually up to date. So everybody that has, I've even run some tests changing my address, so it's working fine.
So basically, we could publish the message like this is the last call. This is the last chance to get your Sourcecred rewards. Link your Ethereum address before August 1st, or you will miss out.
Yeah, and also, well, maybe I could suggest, there. I think there is a CSV coming from the Commons Stack seed, that we have some addresses in there, but I'm not sure if people is going to like airdrop some TC like that. But it could be a solution just to see that table and get some of the missing users or addresses that we need.
Yeah, and that is also a question of is that fair? Sort of that we do, because that would require us to do a lot of detective work, or we try to find other sources of Ethereum addresses that people might have. And then if you're lucky, you were included in one of those lists. I don't know what you others think. In a way, it's more fair to everyone has received the same instruction. Link your Ethereum address to use the pollen bot to link your address, basically. And if you haven't, you won't receive the rewards. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the faster we can close the book on this, the better. And so making more work for us to mess around with Sourcecred later, I don't think is a great idea.
No.
Okay, so I would suggest that we give more importance to the table that's coming from the MongoDB, the one that says verified addresses. So basically, those are the ones that have taken the time to run the script in Discord and give us their address. And manually, I think that we could check every identity that for some reason Sourcecred is not giving us right, and just modify the table and use that as a last, uh, the last truth. What do you think?
Or should we try to do a merge from with the praise users? Because we can
Yeah.
export the user list from praise, including Ethereum addresses, and if we have a match, maybe that is that is a quite simple match to do.
I can talk to Nogan to that. He couldn't make it, so I think
Yeah.
I can meet with him tomorrow. And yeah, I like that idea actually. Yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds good.
because I think so. Some more people actually have activated on praise.
Yeah.
Like, let's see how many. Uh, okay, we have 240 active users. So and all the activated users have Ethereum addresses. So that there is quite a high chance that we might identify quite a lot of the Sourcecred users there.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good number. Yeah.
Attempt to merge.
Yeah, I'll be working with Nogan all of this, but I think that we would redo all the CSV generation after the 1st of August because that's after the deadline. So it would make more sense to have a final spreadsheet then.
Yep. Sounds good.
So we'll need to do this this merge thing before or after the distribution.
Before
With
the
praise
distribution.
before, so that we can get the final CSV.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but merging the praise data with the Sourcecred data that should be fairly straightforward.
Yeah, I bet
So
so.
basically, you just after August 1st, exporting, getting the information out of the Sourcecred database and merging it with the praise information to create a final distribution file, and then do calculate the distribution, and then press the button and be done with it. Sounds good.
Yep.
Yep.
Good. Let's jump over to quantifications, unless there is something else for us to talk about with Sourcecred.
No, for me it's all good. I'll keep updated to Nogan. And yeah.
Oh, great work with the Frankenstein script.
Yeah, you see that repo and it's so funny. You can see PY files, then JS. It's really fun.
Okay. Mitch, do we have anything to say about quantifications?
No. We just wrapped up the round on Monday. We had a review call Zep and I together looking over some of the stuff. We took some notes. Again, talking about like, how to improve the system and stuff, but I might follow up with some GitHub issues. And I probably, like I said, I won't change anything until September about the call itself. So yeah, we're doing the bare minimum for now, and rewards are getting out and quantifiers are quanting. So yeah.
Great. And for the reward board, I guess the big thing there is also about the Sourcecred rewards payout, but I haven't received any we haven't received any pushback on the proposal or the idea. So now I think everyone has read it and know what it's about. So I think we safely can say that we can proceed with doing this plan.
Yeah, well, the big thing is like you're talking about doing it the way that I put in the spreadsheet, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because then if we're looking at that rate, then we need 12,000 TEC. So that's a problem.
I didn't look at the numbers. I just thinking about the plan.
Yeah. So, I mean, because we need to pick a number to start distributing, even if it's vested over 10 rounds. And so 12,000 TEC is basically most of that funding that we're hoping to get to extend the praise. We would use it all up.
Mm-hmm.
That's at $1.30 each.
Okay.
That's 15, 16K.
Then probably we should select a lower number.
Yeah. So that was like some loose math that like kind of had the most sense to me, but I think that number is going to be too high, or we have to ask for more funds. Maybe it's two different proposals, but again,
Yeah, because we haven't set aside any funds for Sourcecred, the Sourcecred rewards, while or we have we have passed our budget cutoff. The funds were supposed to last until June 1st. Was it like that, or was it June 30th? Because I remember it like we were supposed to have put aside 25% of each round budget and sort of earmark it towards Sourcecred. But of course now we have done much more periods than we planned on this budget.
Yeah, I don't actually know if we ended up earmarking that 25% from each round to go into a future Sourcecred distribution. We were calculating 134 TEC per day, calculating it by days in the month, and then putting 100% into praise. I'm looking.
I remember it as that calculation somehow, we subtracted the 25% before ending up being 134. But it doesn't matter. Since, like I said, we have rewarded quite a few more periods than we initially intended on this budget. So it's not.
Well, we're only up to me right now.
Yeah, but I guess we will be out of budget.
Yep.
When we're done all payouts up till now.
Mm-hmm.
But then maybe we need to do some spreadsheet wizardry and look at how much funds we have left.
We've got 20,000.
Yeah. And how many and how long those funds should last, combined with the funds that we are requesting now, and have an idea about.
Well, it looks pretty good actually. If we've got, assuming we don't give out that much from when we do the praise redistribution, whatever, from people who have since activated. 20,000 TEC more than covers what we're asking to do this. And then if we get another 20K worth of TEC out of the common pool from Nuggin's proposal, it should work. Like, we're up quite a bit here.
Okay.
This is, 35K worth of funds. 30.
Okay. So you're saying we can stick with we could continue with the plan as you proposed, or
as
as
long as everyone
you
understands,
calculated.
Yeah, that 12,000 TEC will be going to Sourcecred rewards distributed over 10 rounds. Or something like that. Cool.
Yeah. Do anyone have an opinion on this other than us two? You don't like? No, me neither. And
Yeah, I think it's nice to see some other faces up on the board. Just looking, Griff and Matty G, Tam, yourself, Sam's up there. Yeah. Anyway, we said we were going to do it.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like it's a loss somehow, because it feels like we put so much work into making this happen, and then it's just unfortunate. But I agree that the work it was going to be to us to maintain this feels like madness. It's just not sustainable at all. And I'm feeling optimistic about the evolution of Red, and the ideas we've been talking about, and how that will eventually come in place of Sourcecred in a much better way.
Yeah, let's hope that we can create something that solves the same problem, and that Sourcecred was intending to solve, and goes beyond that. And yeah.
Nuggin's not here, but I guess the technical question is like the way that the sourcecred.csv is configured into the rewards distribution. Does it work to set like a flat 10% amount every round, or do we have to do something weird manually?
Nuggin can hack the thing to make it do backflips if needed. No, it's we'll just adjust as needed to support the file format.
So if we use the same sourcecred.csv file 10 times, I think it'll work. Okay.
Yeah, either that, or we produce a CSV file with 10 payout columns, and we use or something. I think that Nuggin can just decide how he wants the data, and since he also, together with Matteo, does the actual file generation, and don't see that being a problem. So that's the big benefit with RAD as it is now. It's just infinitely customizable quite easily.
So, and then just the last thing here is we'll have to do a different grain distribution, because we want it to go from July until June, which I think we're already past. But I don't know if that one grain distribution that we did went back far enough. We'll have to double check that.
I mean, if we can use cred as a main like parameter, and then we decide another equation to get a better grain if we don't like the way Sourcecred is doing it. But we can
Well,
take
it's if
cred.
we could use cred, but cred goes all the way back to March. So there's a bit of overlap there.
Oh yeah.
So either we just say we're okay with it and it's good enough, or we try and mess around with it to get the right dates.
Yeah, I guess if we were to do it's difficult to do a grain distribution retroactively, right? That has been one of the issues, that it's not possible to do in Sourcecred. So basically, if we could do a grain distribution from August 1st, I guess, around there, we can manually do a grain distribution that looks back at the right amount of weeks or months to the starting date that we would like. And if there are no other grain distributions, that grain distribution would be the true grain distribution for that whole period. Is that correct, Matteo?
Yeah, that's it. That's why we didn't want to use grain, to be honest.
But can we match the grain information with the user accounts? That has been one of the main issues. Okay, we can. Yeah, good.
I mean, is there anybody who doesn't want to use cred, the cred score?
Like you said, it only includes, it becomes a longer period, so it will include contributors that were way before the hatch, etc.
Yeah, looking between it, like if we look at the grain scores versus the cred scores, like it just kind of makes it a little bit more distributed. I think the cred is more distributed than the grain.
Yeah, that's because of the distribution mechanism that we choose. That it's immediate or is balanced. That's like the main difference between cred and grain.
And it looking at that data between July and March, kind of evens it more out.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how we can do that with cred using Sourcecred, because I don't believe they have like a time differentiator. It's just a constant flow.
No, they don't. All I'm saying is that if we're okay using just the cred score, or do we try and fiddle around with this grain thing? That's like, does anybody not think that we shouldn't use the cred score?
I'm okay with the cred score.
Yeah, I'm okay also, because grain is also super esoteric. We don't actually know how is it working, so we could come up with our own equation that is just based on cred. We decide to trust in cred and then go with it.
And okay, this is slightly philosophical or strategic or marketing idea or something like that. If one part of distributing monetary rewards is to create a vibrant community around the TC, perhaps it's super good to do this slightly longer period, and maybe we will thereby include a few contributors that has since left the TC, and if they get a few TC tokens in their wallet and then get to know about that, who knows? Perhaps they will consider coming back or something. So maybe it's a positive thing to do this longer period.
You feel like the cost of dragging that is bigger than the benefits of what it could bring? Because it's quite an annoying process to activate your Sourcecred account, and then it's just for one distribution of probably little tokens for most of the people.
Yeah, but that issue we can almost put aside. It's only like 4 days left until August 1st. So this last call message will go out. like you activate before this date if you want to receive your rewards, and we will try to merge with the praise user list as well. I just meant if we happen to if some old contributors are included in this list, then that might be a good thing.
To spread out, to like drop just a little bit every month rather than it all in 1 month. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying if we the further back we look, the more contributors we will include in the distribution, and the more inactive contributors we will also include. And most likely we don't have their Ethereum addresses, so maybe this effect isn't that big. But like imagine if we were paying out rewards only for the last week, we would only be paying out rewards to people actually that are currently active within the TC. But if we pay out rewards to people that were active last spring, then that might be a good thing. Just getting
You're
them
right.
to. Sorry, sidetrack. Should we move on? Yes, let's do that. And I don't believe we have anything to view when it comes to the animation or anything that I haven't heard from Acid Laser. So let us jump into praise. And we had some good discussions in while in Paris. Me and Tam and Liv and Griff, and discussed with some other people as well. And I think we agreed on that we will focus on implementing 2 highly requested features into praise. That will be our main focus for the coming for the short to mid-term, and that will be to integrate some basic analytics into praise, some basic graphs and stats and metrics, and to also include a mechanism for doing token distributions right inside the praise dashboard without having to use RAD. And that does not mean that we will stop using RAD. We will just make sure that praise is a standalone thing on its own, because most or many or most, who knows, communities will perhaps be using only praise to do a separate kind of distribution of a reputation token or whatever. They are not interested in merging the praise data with some other data to do the distribution. And to those, so the offering from Common Stack to the world would be more clear if we say that you can run praise and do some basic analytics and do the distribution all within the praise dashboard. And I think we will enjoy it in the TC as well, to be able to see some basic stats there before we push the information into RAD. So that feels great. That feels like a good focus going forward. And we have also discussed, I will just mention this, we have also discussed a more long-term vision of praise, and that is that we should probably want to sync the quantified praise data with some distributed database layer, such as IPFS or Arweave or Ceramic. If we do that, when we close a period, when the period has been quantified and done, we also save that information in one of those places. Then we can start using praise as a source of independently verifiable proofs of contribution. Then we can start collaborating with projects, and then other projects can actually start building stuff on top of praise data. So you can allow someone to, someone could build a proof of contribution website or whatever, where I can prove that I have actually contributed to a number of communities, and these were my main contributions to the TEC, and these were my main contributions to the common stack, etc. Because all that data would be accessible, and it could be proven independently verifiable that it's there, and it's signed, and it's not sitting in our central database. But that is on the more long-term horizon. But that would be super cool, because it would open up an avenue to really do like hackathons with external projects, like build on top of praise data, build different reputation systems, etc. But that needs to be need to do quite a lot of research and planning, and also perhaps secure some financing before we go ahead and start implementing something like that. And then I'd like to jump over to the RAD dashboard, and we discussed that in Paris as well, and
I just like a weird, sorry. Like at what point, because it seems to be like this long-term vision thing turning into like a common stack project. So at what point do we just like, does it make the switch?
does which make the switch?
When do we call like TEC praise is like done? We have a reward system and this is it. And then like, this whole show just moves to the common stack, because it's like the way I see it, it's like a lot of this planning and work and like review and feature request is coming from the common stack, but then we're still having like these meetings in the TEC. So it's like somehow this is like coming from above, and I'm like, okay, I'm super confused. That's my only problem. I'm like, hey, is this the TEC or the common stack?
No, for me it has been crystal clear from the get-go. The way I see it is that the common stack develop praise initially it develops a praise for the TC, and then now it uses it itself. But the same as the commons config dashboard or the hatch dashboard, and like praise is one of the tools that common stack has developed in the process of launching a commons. So, and these meetings are not primarily praise developer meetings, but the TEC reports system meetings where also includes Sourcecred. And
yeah, I think that's a good point, Mitch. And the way I see it is just like, how is the TC using this tool the same as I think like Gnosis now that is implementing praise? It's interesting for them to discuss the updates that are going to happen in the tool. Just like we were discussing the updates that were happening on Sourcecred. So it's just interesting for us to stay to know what's going on. But yeah, we're not doing the work here.
I wouldn't say it's no like the top down thing going on. It's me holding the praise product team together, talking to you about stuff that comes up here. Like many of the new features that have been implemented that have come from insights that you have provided, for instance. And I guess that is how the process should look. I talking in a similar way with Gnosis, and we'll be doing with Giveth as well. Talking more about praise, about the product, about the future, trying to hear any requests for features, and also inform about the stuff that we inside the dev team think about.
All right. Well, yeah, Livy had a helpful explanation, so Good enough.
And the same, and I'd say I apply the same perspective on RAD, that we would like to continue developing RAD from a common stack perspective. Like RAD is also one of the tools that will be vital when common stack continues to help build public goods, microeconomies, etc., and help communities to form. So for grassroots economics, I'm certain that we will have great use of RAD, or what we hope to be the next sort of the next iteration of RAD, which is this, or this is the idea at least, that we have been discussing since sort of the downfall of Sourcecred. We have let go of the idea of pushing data into Sourcecred, like the meeting tracker data and that kind of stuff. And we have been thinking about, should we try to instead do automated praise bots? I haven't gotten any clear signal from anyone, or like mixed signals. And I'm also haven't been persuaded myself that it's a good idea to push this these automatic feeds, activity feeds, or impact feeds, or engagement feeds, or whatever you want to call them, to push that kind of data into the praise system, because that would make praise into something else. And I really like when praise is what it is. It's a tool for contributors. It's a person to person to where we acknowledge each other's contributions, and that should be the core of it. So it's not a good idea to push data into Sourcecred because we're not using it anymore. It's not a good idea to push data into praise either. So I think Olivia, it was you who suggested that we instead should push the data directly into RAD, and that is a super interesting idea.
Yeah, I like to have praise just as a source, and then we can have other modules as other sources. And we were thinking how then we could open up for hackathons, and how it could be more of a collaborative process of like, how are the sources acting, what people can create, how could we, I don't know, bring more perspectives, and then the same for the analysis. And then what we have more solid is this middle layer, that is the actual software technology that is just processing the data and then feeding to the analysis.
Yeah. So basically what this overview is showing is RAD there sitting in the center of the thing, processing data and generating analysis reports and token distributions. So it's basically doing exactly the same thing as before. So the only thing that we will do with RAD is sort of just widen the focus and letting go of the R in RAD and make it into more of a community analytics and reporting tool in general. I think one way we talked about it, which is interesting, is almost like a Dune Analytics, but for off-chain data. Like the Dune Analytics pulls data from a number of sources, process it, visualize it, and I don't know if it also can create like token distributions and reports. I haven't looked that close on that system, but it can only pull data from on-chain sources. And similarly, there is a huge need for communities to analyze the off-chain sources. So praise being one of them. So praise will continue to do what praise does. We export the praise data, we analyze it in RAD, but then we will look. So I'm having a first meeting this Friday with a DevOps specialist to discuss how can we solve this situation where we would want to allow communities or anyone basically to create some kind of source module. If we want to track, do a meeting tracker, then YYB can build a standalone meeting tracker bot in the simplest way possible. and that just outputs some CSV structured data file, and then the big the thing to solve is how do the data file get from the bot into RAD, so we can process it and analyze it and visualize it and create a token distribution. So basically, we'll start to research and see if we can come up with some smart server setup where we can, one community can host one server for tracking these off-chain data sources. So in this small example, real time in the meeting tracker bot in Discord. And then we have some async trackers that more fetch data on a periodic basis, once a day or something. And like a discourse activity tracker or a token log activity tracker. And then we can imagine, any number of these activity engagement impact trackers. So in the end, in a dream world, there would be like a huge library of these trackers, and when a new community starts to form and they want to start doing community analytics and token distributions, they would pick and choose a number of these tracking modules and get some kind of help to configure and run them on one server, so that it's a fairly easy setup, and then get going with RAD to generate reports and token distributions. So that is the back of a paper napkin idea so far. I haven't at all researched how difficult it would be to create this setup of running a number of bots on one server and allowing it, making it fairly simple for the end users or the sysadmins to configure it, because we don't want to build a huge framework around this. We would need to make it fairly simple for us to develop, also to make the smallest possible structure to make this happen, so that actually YYV can build a Python-based meeting tracker bot, and Matteo who loves coding in Lisp can build a Lisp-based discourse post comment tracker. And they can run on the same server and output some data that we can analyze. Any questions or reflections on that? Silence. I think it could be really valuable for the TEC as well to, for instance, analyze token log data or other sources than we have currently.
Sorry, Christopher, I was distracted. But yeah, a framework should be like a cool idea to take into the future. I'll talk to Nogan and see how hard can it be. But yeah, we're pushing that everything that we do is like easily accommodated to any other community.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So next actions for this for the next iteration of RAD is that Nagan continues developing he's already developing a more modular version of RAD than the one we have, and will continue doing so. And I will continue doing these kinds of overviews. I'll try to make sort of a project brief of the thing, and Livy will be looking into trying to secure some financing and get some other communities on board, because it would be best if this was maybe some sort of DAO-to-DAO collaboration, at least when it comes to financing, and we need input from other communities, like what data sources would you like to track and why, and what kind of visualizations do you need, and that kind of stuff. But in the end, more of a toolbox than templated system where. Okay, do we have anything else? We have 5 minutes left, or should we close down early?
Yeah, just this last messed with Sourcecred. Like, can I delegate somebody just to like get this done? I'm not really around this week. As you can see, I'm not at home. I'm sort of on vacation, so it would be cool if like Christopher, Nugget, and Matteo just like got it done and said, here's the CSV file, and then we can just move on, because I don't have the ability to project manage it before it's due.
And what next actions did you remind to activate, and then just make sure the CSV file gets generated and sent to for first vote.
Like, I'll put out the message today, but then after that, I'm hoping that like between the three of you or the two of you it can just be figured out.
Yeah, from my side, I will not gonna update it, and I'll get to fix the identities. Otherwise, we'll just do the CSV manually. But yeah, we'll solve that this week.
And I'll keep an eye out also to and make sure that we move forward on this. And we need to make a final decision on the amount, or maybe we will propose to make your sketch the final amount, basically.
I mean, that's been up for a couple of weeks, so
sorry,
maybe a week. I mean, that spreadsheet I made has been up for like a week, so yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we will take the total amount, or we make the calculation based on the new information,
Right.
and we will
Great.
end up with a slightly higher amount.
Slightly higher amount. Okay, sure.
Cool. So you be gone the next week as well, right?
No, Monday I'll be here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll be not on vacation.
Okay, because there's not much to do with the CSV thing before August 1st, when we have the final version. We can talk about this later as well.
Great.
Cool. Thank you everyone for coming. Have a